Do you find perspective difficult? Do you avoid figures in your painting? Do your shadows look flat and boring? Hello, I'm Tim Wilmot, a watercolour painter and tutor. Please join me on my next online watercolour workshop where over 2 hours we're going to paint this scene. This is Vila Moura in Portugal and we're looking down on the scene, so quite tricky from a perspective point of view. We've got the normal perspective of the background buildings there, lots of detail as well to contend with, and then the curve of the road and these parasols on the left hand side. Lovely grouping of parasols, but all at different sort of angles, so that should be quite a challenge. And then the figures, lots of figures in the scene, of course, just to add a bit more interest, add a bit of relationship of the different sizes of objects as well, perhaps provide some focal points also. But because we're looking down on the scene, all these figures are going to be at different heights, so the background figures are going to be a little bit smaller, but they will appear higher than the middle ground figures there, so these two figures for example, and then some foreground figures. They'll be lower still, but larger in size. Got some nice shadows also to work with. Look at the dark shadows on that wall facing us. And then to accentuate the curvature of the street, nice shadows coming out, being created by those parasols there at nice angles that we can use to emphasize the curve of the road and add a bit of impact to the painting. So that's the source for during the workshop, or before the workshop and during the workshop. This is a little practice sketch I've done already to try out in my mind getting the composition right, the values right, but looking at the perspective and placement of figures as well. So I hope you'll join me, where together we'll paint live. It's all online and plenty of chance to ask your questions along the way. As I paint in stages, there'll be plenty of opportunities to type in your questions and I'll read those out to you. There'll be no adverts, no annoying adverts to disrupt your painting pleasure. You can interact with other attendees from all over the world, have a little chat with them. Of course, you can paint along with me or decide to paint later on in your own time. I'll make available a recording of the event so you can play that back as many times as you want to. And the key thing here is that I'd love you to paint this scene and email me a photograph of your painting, which I can then compile together on a future video. So I hope you can join me, catch up with you soon.